Yeah, it's your boy Danny J. Quick, and I'm here with Kyron Silva. And we want to thank you for joining the Four Tales podcast.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.
We're about to talk some comics and get a little bit controversial. Everything from indie books to movie to level commercial. With no rehearsals when we converse to coerce you. And then we do the quick takes and try to get to the person. So join us and get your comic book a few more sales once a week wherever you pod. It's Four Tales. Once a week wherever you pod. It's Four Tales.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Taurus Comics in collaboration with Fourth Wall Productions respectfully brings to you the 161st episode of the Four Tales podcast. I am your host, Kyron Silva from Taurus Comics. Across, I can never get this right. Is it this? Yeah, this way. Across the way is a purple pin wielder of Ace Blade, Danny J. Quick. Together, we're your two award-winning Blurred comic creators here to help you find your next favorite comic. We are live on the Ages Geekdom Network via Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Danny's TikTok. Eventually, no, okay. So, and Danny's TikTok. So, if you're listening or watching us live, thank you for your support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and review our podcast because all your positive reviews, interactions help us reach a bigger audience. And we apologize for the people that are watching us live. We are sorry that we are late. Danny was saving a cat from a tree, and you know, he just had to do what he had to do.
I was not saving a cat. I was bringing my daughter. My daughter decided to go see How to Train Your Dragon. I had to go pick her up from the movie theater. So
I was trying to give you some props and not make it seem like this. No,
it's Father's Day. No, this is Father's Day weekend. So
okay,
you know, I was doing father stuff. So you know, and I apologize for being late. You know, it this is not the first time that it happened, and I'm sure it won't be the last.
Yeah, you're right. So, this is not the first time you've been late.
No, it's not.
All right.
What you been up to, man? You been doing all right, Kyra?
Yeah. You know, just handling swimsuit things and taking care of people's artwork and you know, trying to figure out guests for my convention coming up. Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah. Okay. Heroes Con next weekend, man. It's gonna be awesome to see you.
Is that really next weekend?
Next weekend, man. Next weekend, like this time next week, we'll be hopefully in front of each other. So, yeah.
Oh wow, you're right. This time next weekend we'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yep. Meeting for the first time in 7 years.
Crazy.
I checked that out today. My kid asked, "How long have you known Danny?" I was like, "I don't know." And I looked up. We became friends 7 years ago. I was
7 years ago was wild.
Yeah, that's wow. All right. So what are you gonna do? Like, where are we going while we're there? Like, you got to take me out and show me my wife something.
I don't know anything about Charlotte. I don't. If we were in Durham or Graham, I could take you this. But there is a nice a ramen spot right across from the convention. If it's still there, we'll definitely go there to eat because it's a great ramen spot over there that I've been to a few times. You don't like ramen?
We love ramen, but my wife can't eat things that have gluten in it. So that ramen, I can't do that.
What are good gluten-free foods? I've never even had to think about that.
Corn tacos. Basically anything that doesn't involve wheat at this point. That's the easiest way to do it.
Fish has a good idea.
Drift Club. I don't know if my wife will want that.
my wife either. Or my wife either. She's not even gonna be there.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Maybe we can ask our guests. Because from my understanding, he's traveled a lot. And maybe he can give some pointers and ideas. Bean noodles. I have not actually had bean noodles, Sarah White. So
bean noodles. Ooh.
I'm assuming it's just noodles made out of beans, probably like soybeans, things like that.
I don't know. I'm willing to try anything. I'll try anything once, but
Okay. All right. Well, do you want to introduce our guest, or that's your thing?
hey, we got a great one. We got a great one this week, man. Amazing artist from traveling between New York and Firenze, Italy. Father of two, the man, the myth, the legend. Um, Mr. Von Stoddard is in the building.
Wait, you forgot something. If I'm not mistaken, he's a Beam Award winner, isn't he?
I
Beam
was. I
Award winner.
was.
See, man, we got the
I-
prestigious guest in the building. The prestigious Beam Award winning
I've been-
Gerald von Stoddard.
But I've been sitting backstage trying to practice my Danny Quick pose.
Oh,
No, it's this way.
you got it down pretty good, actually.
This is just to cover up the grays. I do this just to kind of hide some of this flourishing gray down here.
I just
Good.
love his image comes across the screen like.
It's impossible. It's impossible. Thanks for
It's
coming on
Mickey.
the show, man. Again, I'm sorry that I was late. But for those who may not know you, man, give us a quick background, your history, how long you've been doing art, and what you're here to talk about.
You know,
Just
the
interview
simple
yourself,
stuff.
please.
Seriously, I'll see. Yeah, you guys can go, watch TV or whatever, and I'll be done.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Thanks for asking me. I was totally taken back by the Beam Awards last year, and you guys honoring me as for the artist stuff, because I was out of comics for a long time. How long I've been doing art? I don't want to. I'll end up aging myself if I tell you how long I've been doing art. I started drawing comics when I was 7. So we're talking 43 years ago. So, and that was it. And I've never stopped making art, but I did stop making comics for about a decade. I was kind of in and around comics. I started a shop in Portland, Maine. I did a lot of work with other artists, promoting them. Always been a collector. Was kind of doing some writing, but I wasn't really drawing comics. And then because I had started having kids, and that kind of took up. I was a stay-at-home dad, and it was just I had to do one or the other, and I didn't have to. I wanted to focus solely on him, so I kind of gave up for a while, and then it wasn't until about a year and a half ago. I was sort of hanging out with a buddy of mine, a comic creator, Joe Schmalke, and I showed him some pages for a book I was thinking about doing called Immortal Coil, and I said I was looking for an artist, and because I was just writing it, and he said, "Well, who did that art?" And I said, "Well, I did." And he said, "Why are you looking for an artist?" And I kind of laugh about it now, but I said, "Well, I don't know. I don't know if anybody would like it." And anyway, he really pushed me to say, "Well, why don't you draw more pages? And before it's lettered, I'll give you my feedback," because we talked a lot about good comic art or sequential storytelling. You should be able to read the story without the lettering. And so he really gave me my first push to kind of make that book, and that was a year ago that we finished that book and put it out, and we're actually issue 3 comes out October, and yeah, that art and it's just been a roller coaster. I mean, it's my only job now, So I'm full time into this comic creating business, my own books. I've been doing lots of covers past year. I did a second series that's did really well on Kickstarter, Thousand Cuts,
Mhm.
a supernatural western. Um, those are all coming out real soon. Yeah, and then I felt inspired to put it all together into a hardcover book. Um, and so, yeah, I wanted to talk about Devil Inside a little bit because I didn't really want to put out an art book because it feels vainglorious, if that's the right word,
Hmm.
because I'm not that kind of creator where I don't go around tooting my own horn. But what I wanted to do was maybe put together something that felt like a journey. So everything I just told you, sort of coming back into comics, experimenting with styles, trying different things, moving more into, I feel like where I am today is a lot more me. And so I feel like this art book is kind of that journey over the past year, coming back into comics, working with pencils, working with inks, working with a more noir kind of style, trying different line work. Um, so that's kind of what this book is about. So for me, it's kind of like an autobiography through comic art.
Nice.
I love it. Your art, man, is just it's so amazing. And that's weird to me that you say, you didn't think of yourself as, to draw a mortal coil. Like, um, I in my brain, if I was an artist, I would want to draw everything that I write in my brain. I think that, but then I work with Kyron, who has expressed on multiple occasions that that he would love to work with an artist to bring his visions to life on certain things, and he has with Saw and with Starcore, and I just think that that's a different set of muscles. Sometimes I always think
Mm.
that, because your art is so dynamic. The same with Kyron. Kyron has such a great art style, and he does such great work.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, why wouldn't you, put your stamp on the things that you want to create? But
Mm.
um, like I said, Immortal Coil, it got me in the mind of, I don't know if you've read, um, what is the one with the feathers? 1,000 Black Feathers. Um, it's a part of this image universe, horror thing that they're doing. And I've never really been into like dark um stories like that, but the art style just kind of draws me in. So
Mm.
can you talk more about that? Like, maybe I'm thinking maybe you just didn't see your art style as right for the story, maybe. But why is that something that you wouldn't naturally gravitate to, drawing your own stories?
Well, I think because I had been out of comics for a little bit, I think I had some old ideas about what I thought comic art would or should be. The way in which I draw isn't indicative of what I read. It is, of course, but I read a lot of stuff, from super indie stuff, like stuff that's you're never going to see on a shelf, to the boys, or Hickman's run on X-Men. And I see artists like Pepe Larraz, I'm like, oh my God, I could never draw like that. And it's true. I can't draw like that. I draw like me. And but the thing is, when I am creating a story or writing something, it does happen to be dark or lends itself to noir. Now, that may have come subconsciously because that's how I think visually. And I know that I can do that. That's how I'm going to ink it, especially. It's going to be very heavy black. It's going to be a lot of, and I'm doing a lot more of that, a lot more If you've ever read 100 Bullets, on Eduardo Rizzo, who's
Mhm.
probably my favorite artist of all time, just because the guy never uses any gray tones. It's black and white, and he just does stuff minimally, but he tells a story in such a powerful way. I don't know, it's very inspiring. Um, so I mean, I love all types of comic art. I don't buy a lot of superhero stuff these days. I was really into the Swamp Thing, Poison Ivy team up. I thought that was really good. But I'm kind of nuts about Swamp Thing. I have a little bit of an obsession with, especially since Alan Moore's run. Um, but yeah, I think it's because I had been doing art always, but I was painting. So I was doing a lot of painting when I was away from comics for about, for a decade. I was doing like gallery stuff, graphic design work. If I wasn't doing graphic design, I was just in my studio painting really weird stuff. So like, being able to draw or making art doesn't necessarily make you a comic artist, because it's not just about, oh, I can draw, but it is an art form.
Yeah.
Regardless of your skill at line work, to be able to go from panel to panel to panel to panel, telling that story in a visual medium, it's not easy. I think some people think it's easier said than done.
For sure.
Hmm.
No, I've definitely seen people. People think that making comics is. I think most people are like this, like from the outside. If you see something, especially when it comes to the arts, for some reason, whether it's film or a play or music, they think that if you're good at it, if you're naturally inclined as an artist or a singer or you know a poet, that it's easy to create things, and it's just
Mhm.
not. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why that's a function of people's brains outside of the artistic space, but I've definitely seen that also.
Because I've seen people, maybe they don't. I have a couple friends, who draw their own stuff, and it's very different than mine. But where they really excel is that sequential storytelling. You can read that story without the lettering, and that's always the benchmark of when I do a page. These days is, does this make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's a script, whether I wrote it or another writer wrote it. So obviously that's the blueprint, the benchmark, the story, the heart of the thing. But it is a visual medium. People they are reading the script through you, the artist.
And you were mentioning how over the years you were doing things like graphic design and painting. How much of a struggle was that going from that art style to comic book work and the sequential work for you?
Yeah, hard. Because not so much like putting things in a box, but when you're doing graphic design or painting, you're usually doing a singular image.
Mhm.
So it's one of the reasons why I feel like I love doing covers, and I feel like sometimes my style on covers, I put a lot more detail or less. Like interior is a little more experimental, a little more messing around with shadows and light, but it covers, I feel like I'm kind of getting back into that painting mode where I'm just headphones on and I'm making art. Um, and that's different, but as far as interior pages, well, like for example, when we did issue 2 of Immortal Coil, it felt so much easier. Like I felt the, you know, I was I was drawing the story before the script was finished, because I knew how it was going to play out visually and emotionally, and wrote the script around the art most of the time.
Okay. Now, looking at the work that you're putting into this art book, I'm noticing a lot of it is just like traditional artwork. Do you work at all digitally, or is everything just pencil, inks, uh, just just traditional work, or do you do like any digital work at all?
No, all of it, all of it. Uh, Digital, and a lot of my work is hybrid. I I do ink covers, but I traditionally, but I tend to ink interiors digitally because it's a lot, and also I travel constantly, and I have a studio in the United States, but I still don't have a studio in Italy. And like right now, I'm talking to you guys from a tent kitchen. That's why I have a background like by the sea, in Italy at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Let's talk about that also for everybody that's watching live. Where Gerald is right now, it's 2 a.m. in the morning. He was nice enough to stay up at this late to talk to us. Like when Danny and I were like, "You're where?" We felt bad because we were like, "Tell us that we could try to like work it out a different time." So, if
it's
you guys have
okay.
questions, please put in the chat because we don't want to waste Gerald's time on this at all.
It's definitely not wasting my time. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've seen you guys around, so I'm excited just to hang out with you at 2 a.m. It's all good with me. Um, so yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I do more traditional work when I'm in America, but when I'm traveling in Europe, I'm working on putting the studio together. Um, but I can't move it to the beach. So, uh, but I did get some new nibs, some new ink. I really love using quill pens a lot.
Ooh.
And ordered some new Posca markers. So I'm excited for that. Um, so I'm going to be trying to do a lot more traditionally. It's just that honestly, my schedule for putting out books right now in pages is insane. And if I was doing everything traditionally, especially, I mean, interiors, I would have people flying to Italy going, "Where's my book?" And
Uh,
These new these new Sharpie creative markers. I think they made these in response to the Posca markers. I think the Posca markers got so popular and they
mm,
saw, people buying them left and right, and Sharpie made these Sharpie creative markers in response to those. And these things are pretty good too. So if you can get your hands on those, they're awesome. They're awesome.
but I am doing a lot more. I really love to pencil, uh, and I feel like my penciling is very different because you're not totally working in a lot of light and shadow, like when you are inking and stuff. So I've actually been working with two inkers in the United States, and that's been fun. That's been a fun collaboration to just pencil because I feel like I can do a lot more if that's all I'm focused on. Um,
gives you
so
that
like for
extra
this,
time
so
to
like for
really branch it out.
yeah, and be more detailed and just I don't know. So for this art book, I'm doing a set of kaiju drawings that I did traditionally, and I have a couple of inkers who are collaborating on inking them so they can be part of the rewards for the book.
Okay. How can Danny and I be a part of the reward for the book too? Because Danny loves to color with pencils and markers, so we can work out something.
All
Yeah,
right, we can work out something.
that's
I
facts.
get, I'll give you something to if you want to color with your Sharpie markers.
Yeah. Then we can be Beam Award winners too. Um, oh no, man. I think like Fish is saying, I think it would be great to. I think if you find something that you really love doing, like you said, when you're in your zone, you got your headphones on and you can just go at it. I think
Mm,
a lot of us indie artists and writers and creators have to do so many things. You just have
mm,
to, I have to be a writer and a designer and a marketer and I got to package books. And, I can't really sit and do the things that I want to do as
Hmm.
much. And even my daytime job, I was just telling my boss how, when I actually get to design, which is rarely, my job seems so much easier because I just get to sit down and do what I enjoy doing. But having to do all the meetings and stuff like that is crazy. I think that's something that people don't think about when it comes to, the indie comics.
100%. 100%. And Fish is here, and I know who Fish is. Actually, when I came back into comics, and Fish probably doesn't even know this, but he was like definitely someone I looked up to because I saw what the dude was doing and how much work he was doing, what he was putting out, and he was in a couple groups, and I was kind of quiet in sort of behind the scenes. So yeah, it's cool. I see Fish around, and yeah, he doesn't know it, but he was definitely someone that I was looking up to and inspired by, not just by his books. Like, oh, he's got a comic book. He was one of those people I saw that was like doing all this stuff, and Fish makes us all look bad.
Fish, you're right, Sarah. Fish does make us all look bad.
But you're right, and I think that we were talking about, people thinking making comics is easy, and it's not, and it's a lot of work, and most of that work, at least, and this is at minimum 25%, you don't get paid to do it.
Yeah.
Like you're not drawing, you're not writing a script, you're not coloring, you're not inking, you are making graphics for social media. You are trying to have meetings with people, talking, emails, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, creating a Kickstarter page. I mean, I'm still finishing my Kickstarter page for this book, and it launches Monday, and I have to make the video tomorrow. But I do love it. You do have to love it, or I think there's a lot of people, maybe because the movies have done really well. I've been around comics my whole life, and I've never seen so many people want to get in this industry. Or try to use AI as a way to kind of like fast forward, or bypass skill. No,
it's bypassing paying is what you're really trying to say. They want to bypass the paying part of the artist more than anything.
Yeah, right. Because skill is subjective. I mean, art is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, there's a book that you guys might like that I don't, or a book that I love and you guys don't. It doesn't make it good or bad. It's like putting in the work. But Danny's right. I mean, then being a dad, and I have 2 kids, and I have 2 weeks to draw 16 pages. I don't know how I'm going to do it with my 7-year-old who's out of his mind. And then I go back.
And it's summertime too. You can't send them off to school right now.
Then I gotta go back to New York in August, fulfill my last comic. Trying to do the podcast thing, trying to get, keep the machine moving, keep the wheels good. Hey man, making comics is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. And I do agree with you. I think a lot of it also is the influx of the popularity of the movies. People are like, oh, well, I could just make my comic and hopefully someday it'll be turned into a TV show or a movie or something, and I'll get rich off of that. And then it's that short, quick, get rich quick scheme type ideal.
I just had this conversation because I have met people, and I don't judge it. You do whatever you want. Like, I make comics because it's like why some people become professional cyclists. I hate riding my bike more than a mile, but some people love it. They live for it. I have a friend who, for fun, rides his bike 30 miles a day. And I'm like, for fun?
That's a wonderful example. That's a wonderful example. Like, why would I? Like, people run because they like it. And I'm like, why?
The only reason you should be running is if something's chasing you.
Why would you decide to do that?
I taught my 7-year-old to scream out the window, "What are you running from?" But
Man.
you're right. I have met some people where I feel they're getting into comics because there's it's a means to an end, and it isn't the joy of the medium itself, and that's okay because I think that it all just they kind of just fall away, and then I feel like those who really love it, live it, breathe it, are able to get through the pain, as Kyron said, because there's a lot of pain, and it's blood, sweat, and tears, man, and I think it's what makes it so worthwhile.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Fish, man, 10 miles a day is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Unless you're like literally driving it to work or something. Like, I mean, I ride my bike, but only for exercise. Like, I'd rather do that than run. So I get on my bike and do that. But if I can get to the basketball court, I would much rather do that than any of the stuff. So yeah, that's a great analogy. Um, all right,
Before,
so
wait,
go ahead.
before I know you're about to get into quick takes, but I do want to talk a little bit about his Kickstarter since we started a little bit late.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, what are some of the things that we can maybe expect? I mean, we know it's an art book, but what are some of the things we can expect that you haven't brought up that we should look forward to?
Well, there's probably some art that people have seen, but I've done a couple projects that will probably never see the light of day, and those are actually pages that I really enjoyed doing. Oh, Katie's here, K-pop junkie. Katie's awesome. Um, and so there's some of that stuff. Some covers that haven't even come out yet. Maybe they never will. I think one guy just quit comics, and he was like the first. I think that was the first cover I ever did for someone else. I think he
Mm,
quit. I haven't heard from him in a year. So
wow.
there's like that cover which I really enjoyed doing, and showing the process a little bit, like how I started the pencils, where the pencils ended up, because there's a few different versions, and then the final version. Full color pieces, some of my collaborations. Like nowadays, I only use two colorists. Lorenzo Scaramella, who's in Rome, and Guilherme Lindenberg, who's in Brazil. Um, so those are the only two colors I use these days. If it's more like Mortal Coil, it's Guilherme because he has a very robust color style. Like it's very like I don't want to say superhero like, but it's more of that like Marvel kind of DC coloring. And Lorenzo I love because I do a lot more sort of Mad Cave, I guess, type stories, and Lorenzo actually does work for Mad Cave. So
Hmm.
we do a lot of work together lately. So there's some of those colored pieces. There's some pitches that I've put out this year. I did some art for, and I put some double page spreads of some of that art. Some commentary, kind of like this is this was like where I started. This is like a page from Immortal Coil, and this is how it ended up. And I don't want to make it completely about me because, as you guys know, comics is it's a communal thing.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a village.
Yeah.
Just because I'm the artist, I don't feel like I should get top billing because, God, there's times when I do a piece of art and I like it, and then I get the colors back and I'm like, come on, what? I didn't do that. He did that.
Man,
Like
that is
I did an exclusive print for WickedCon in Boston, and I did a Swamp Thing, Poison Ivy original, and I sent it to Guilherme to color, and I was like, no, 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 I quit. Because people are going to look at that and think, oh, your art is so amazing. And I wish Guilherme was there so I could say, this is the guy who colored it. I'm not sure if you like what I did or you like what he did, but it's us together, you know. And we talk about the love of comics. I mean, that is one thing I love about it too. I have an editor. I always work with the same editor.
mhm.
Sometimes Devin Arscott. I work with only two letterers, so I sort of have a team, and we make these books together. And I love getting the print when the shipment of comics comes and I open it up and I'm just like, ugh. I'm not like going, oh, look at me. I'm like, look at us. Look what we did. You know, how
Yeah,
cool is that? What a great feeling, you know?
yeah. I think that's a great observation. And like Sarah was saying, like I and Fish also, I think that as a writer, primarily I'm the writer and creator of, like, especially with Ace Blade, man. I always feel that same way. I'm like, yes, I know that this thing would not exist without the ideas that I have. I know that. But when I write the script, when I sit down and I write, and then I say, okay, like it's like, here, all right, artist who literally toils over the page like 100 times longer than I did, probably. I mean, even though there's a lot of thought that goes into, themes and story and, story progress and plot points and all this stuff, but still, like, seeing the art that comes from it, and then seeing the people who see, if I have an inker, especially a traditional inker, like I worked with Michael Keller for a long time, then the colors do a whole nother thing. Like, it's like, how do I take credit? How do I take credit for this when there's every piece of this, it took everybody's elite work to get it to where it is. So, but then, because when you type in Ace Blade, you see my face, I get all the credit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel that also. But I want you to I would like to get y'all, both of you, the answers on what Sarah was saying. Do you ever feel like you do more or less work than the other people who make the book?
Well, I can try to answer that. I think it depends on the book. If it's
Mm,
my own creator-owned book, of course I'm doing more. Even if I didn't write this. So just real quick, for all of the stories that I create now, I no longer write the scripts. I have a writing partner that I brought in, and we started an imprint called Third Contact Comics. So those are all my stories. So what I do is I go, Frank, here's my story, and I make him want to take crazy pills, and he comes back with the script, and I talk fast, he writes fast, I draw slow. But because it's my baby, we were just talking about all the work that entails putting a comic together, marketing the comic, promoting the comic, printing it, trying to get to cons. I will always do more work than anybody on the team. So I'm not one of those people who are like, hey guys, you need to push this book as hard as me. I don't really care,
mm,
because
Mm-hmm.
they're on to the next thing or waiting for me to say, oh, I got more pages. But the thing about artists and writers is, like, I don't see one less than the other. I think the only difference is just time. That's all. It's just time. Like, writers are usually done faster because writers have a different flow. I think when you get into writing, you could bust out a first draft one day, and be like, wow, because you're feeling the flow. You can't draw. I can draw 2 pages a day, but that's very rare. Um, but without that writer, without that story, what are you drawing? Like, you can just make it up. But a good writer, and that's why I brought Frank in, Frank Martin, because he really understands better than I do th- how important writing is, even if he doesn't get all the credit. And so we have a really nice collaboration, and I always mention him, and I always talk about Frank, because I feel like Immortal Coil is just upgraded big time. We just did our first full book together, 1,000 Cuts. That's been an awesome book. It's kind of like Kill Bill meets I Spit on Your Grave. So that's been a fun book to do. Um, but I think that if it's your books, if Danny was writing it and he hired me to draw it, hell yeah, he's going to do more work than me, because I'm on to the next thing. That's his
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
That's his. That's your baby.
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see that.
Yeah.
What about you, Kyron? What you think?
No, I mean it totally If it's just something that I'm hired to do the artwork for, I'm gonna put my 100% effort into drawing it. But once I'm done with that book, I totally forget most of the time. Now there are definitely times where like maybe if it's your book or Sean Barbora's book, somebody that I know, very closely, I'm gonna put a little bit more effort in promoting it and talking about it and bringing it up because you guys are my boys. You guys are, family in a way. I want to make sure that you succeed. But if it's other people that just hire me to just be the artist, I'm gonna put my effort into the artwork and that's it. But yeah, if it's my series like Saw with issue 5 of Saw coming out, I'm gonna put all the effort into writing it. I'm gonna be editing it, although Brian Lambert says he's gonna help me edit it, so that's a good thing.
That is a good
But
pick.
yeah, but all the other things like promoting it, the logistics of getting everything printed and packaged and shipped out, you got to count all those things also. So all the extra stuff that people forget about makes it overall me doing more work.
Mhm.
For sure.
I will say there is one comic I did not write. It is not my baby, but I have pushed it as hard as they have. It's a book called The Devil's Gate, and that's only because the art I've done for it is some of my favorite I've done all year. Some pages I love more than my own book, just because I felt like at the time that they brought me in, I was feeling more clear on how I draw comics and how I ink and what my style is. So I feel really attached to it. So we're almost done with that one. But it still is his baby. I'm not going to go to, I'll bring it to cons and I'll push it and I will market it, in that way. But he's the one who's going to, like Kyron said, if you're crowdfunding books, if that's your project, I mean, you're going to be busy. you're
Yeah.
going to be real busy.
Absolutely.
But I did tell Frank on the next fulfillment, he wrote the script. I said, I'm going to tell you this, man. He's actually lives an hour and a half south of me in New York. I said, you're coming up and you're fulfilling these books with me. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Kyron to come help me fulfill the next Battle of the Black Rose, even though he's on the other side of the country. Um, but, but anyway, I'm gonna pay him and I'm gonna get him a nice hotel too. So it's time for my favorite part of the show. It's time to do some quick takes. Yeah. All right, Kyron, I'm ready when you are.
Quick takes.
That's a
I'm
great.
so scared. I am so scared what is happening.
Wait, real quick, Travis, why is Gerald Gerald growing? It's because right now the sun is rising for him in Italy, and that's just the sun.
Just the sun.
It's just the sun
glowing.
coming up,
Yes.
dude.
That's all it is. But excuse me. We are at the part of the show. We are at the part of the show where we get to grill our guests on their deepest, darkest secrets from the internet. This is quick takes. Gerald, if you haven't seen the show before, you're gonna have 45 seconds each to answer 5 questions off the top of your head. But these questions are just designed for our audience to get to know you a little bit better. So no need to fear. Okay. So
Fear a lot. Be scared.
question number 1. Who did you vote for in the last? No, just playing.
Damn.
Question number 1. Question number 1.
Well, that's the end of the show.
Question number 1. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. And you talked about taking a little break from comics for a while. What did that absence do for your art?
I have 45 seconds to answer. Absence makes the art grow. Well, I think that absence, I matured. I think I matured. I think that I like a certain kind of book. I like a certain kind of art, and I don't feel confused. So I feel that stepping away, like a cornucopia of ideas. When I came back, I knew exactly what kind of story I want to tell. I knew exactly how I want to pretty much draw. and I feel like I'm in my lane, and it's I'm very comfortable with it.
Nice.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Sounds
That's
like
great.
gave you clarity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little clarity. Yeah, that's great. Okay, question number 2. So you talked also about the versatility of being able to ink digitally, but you're also, your love for traditional art. But I want to know, if you could only do one for the rest of your artistic career, would you work digitally or traditionally, and why?
I would work traditionally because I think there I love the sound. I love the sound of traditional work. It's meditative. Digital is great for many reasons. Ease of use, traveling, speed. But when I'm inking a cover and when you hear a quill scratching at the paper, I don't. It's like people who love cars revving the engine. I don't know. They love this. You hear that, man? You hear that dual muffler, man? For me, it's like when I hear that scratching of a 2H pencil on some Bristol board. I don't know. I love that feeling. It feels like you're become one with it.
Absolutely, I love that. Love that.
We might need you to do an impression of a car guy again. That was actually
Yeah,
pretty good.
that was good.
You hear that? That's got nitro in the back, bro.
It has a little bit of a Macho Man Randy Savage to it.
Yeah, I heard that. I
Oh,
heard a little bit
yeah.
There you go.
Okay, all right. Question number 3. You talked a little bit about your desire to spend time with your children also. So in 45 seconds, I want you to tell us, for anybody out there who's looking to kind of balance their art life and their work life or their home life, what are some tips that you can give us to create that art life balance?
It can never be more important. And if that means my career falls to the wayside, so be it. Sorry, but I think that to each his own. I mean, fortunately, my kids are both in school. They're young, so I use that time incredibly wisely. Plus, I'm and when they go to sleep, I go on podcasts at 2 a.m. There's your balance. I don't sleep. Don't sleep. Just don't sleep ever again.
Don't sleep. Hey, that's the advice of a creative right there. Don't You better learn how to operate on minimal sleep. That's the advice right
But
there.
also, if my 7-year-old is like, "Let's go play. Can we go play soccer?" The best answer is yes.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I'm with you. Okay. Question number 4. Now, I saw on one of your profiles that you studied at the Digital Marketing Institute. Is that right? Um,
Yes.
so, in 45 seconds, I want you to give us, the best digital marketing advice that you can give us, in all the time that you learn from there.
Give more than you take. I honestly give more than you take. Lift other people up, and there's your karma. And people use digital as a forms of just pure self-expression, but altruism goes a long way. So you can learn all the tools, the programs and softwares and apps, and they're all the right ways to do it. But I think the best way to use digital marketing is to market others as much as you do yourself.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So, question number 5. I told you this wasn't going to be that bad. Question number 5. We always like to have our guests do a top 5 list off the top of their head. I have another show called Top 5 Live. Me and Kyron have another show called Top 5 Live, and
Why are you spreading lies?
we like to get our guests to do a top 5 list off the top of their head. And my list for you, seeing that you draw all of these, I've seen you draw some amazing creatures. So I want to know your top 5 mythological creatures. And this can be just creatures that you like, or top 5 creatures that you want to draw.
Well, okay. Number one right now is kaiju, and that's only because Mike Tenner, what's the word? He challenged me to draw one, and I never had. So now I'm kind of obsessed with these giant world-eating monsters. You know, anything Lovecraftian because it's so weird, and you can kind of go wherever you want with it. Um, I demons, of course, but I want to draw more gross ones that look like God knows what the hell they're made out of. Well, like, look, my time's up.
Keep going. It's okay.
You had three good ones. Throw two more in there just to humor us.
I've really been wanting to draw people more possessed. I don't know if it's by demons or something. I don't know if that's mythological.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I re- maybe maybe one day I'll draw Pegasus.
Yeah, there you
Okay.
go.
All right.
Nice. I love it. I love it. I'd love to see. I can't wait to see your kaiju art. I think that's going to be great. Um, well, thanks for doing that, man. Quick takes is my favorite part of the show. It's just a little rapid fire thing, and I really enjoy putting people under that 45-second pressure. So thank you for doing that. And this week, Quick Takes has been brought to you by Gemini Comic Supply. If you go to Gemini Comic Supply and use the promo code AceBlade, you'll get 10% off your entire order. Kyron, back to you, man.
All right, Gerald. This has been fun. This has been very insightful. We want to make sure our listeners follow you, follow with your work. We know you're an Beam Award winner, so our viewers know you, but we want to make sure our listeners know you too. So, where are the best places online that people can follow your work and keep up with you?
I mean, right now I would say Facebook and Instagram. I do some stuff on TikTok, but Facebook is where I get a little more personal. I do a lot there for promoting, books, and Instagram is what it is. I show a lot of artwork. I've been using that a lot more. So Instagram, gvonstoddard.art. Facebook is just gvonstoddard. So pretty easy. There's only one of me, I think. That's a story right there. Maybe not. I don't know.
I used to work at director assistants late at night, and we would get like we wouldn't get any calls for like minutes on end. I searched every state to see if there are any Chirons, and I found 3. So you never know. You never know. But appreciate that. Danny, where can people check you out?
If you want to find me, the best place to go is our website, fourthwallpros.com. If you want to get me on social media, it's at the Ace Blade on all social media platforms. Kyron, where can people find you, sir?
You can find me next week at Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina at
Yeah.
2193. Me and my wife, she's going to come. She said she's going to come with it.
Awesome.
So, but until then, you can also go to my website, TaurusComics.com. You can check out all my books there. I am at Taurus Comics at all social media platforms. And you'll find me posting mostly on TikTok right now because I'm trying to reach that 10,000 mark, and I'm almost at 7. So
me too. I'm trying to get there too.
Sorry.
Turns out, okay. Yeah. All right. That's a lot of that. Wow. Sorry for all our podcast listeners. Let me read the officially in the comments said, I thought I was the only officially. Turns out there are hundreds of Korean ladies. Not touching that.
But also, hey, before we leave, I just want to say to both you guys, thank you for what you do for the comics community. Not just making comics, but taking your time out. You do this podcast, you do those Beam Awards. You don't have to do that, but the fact that you do it, you guys are, you're heroes. Thank you.
Wow.
No, thank you. We're happy to do it. I really enjoy it. I know Kyron is a headache for Kyron sometimes, but
I don't enjoy it at all. But no, I do enjoy doing this. And I forgot to say it. If this is the first time checking our podcast, please go to our website, fourtalespodcast.com. That is the number 4, TALES podcast.com. But I do enjoy it just because I get to have this time to meet the creators. Like when you're on Facebook, you don't really get that time to find out who they really are. So this allows us to actually do that. So we appreciate you.
I got to talk to Daryl Banks for an hour one time. This is
Yeah.
like 160 episodes are worth it.
So here's the thing, you guys. Like we've been mentioning, Dan and I will be at Heroes Con next week. So we are not going to be doing a show. We might do some content while we're at the show. We will not have a live episode. After that is June 27th. We're not going to have an official show on that day. We might do a Fortnite Friday type of deal. After that is July 4th. We will not have a show then because we're going to be shooting fireworks, spending time with the family. So we will not be back until July 11th, where we're going to have Roy Gonzalez on the show talking about his work. So it's going to be a month with no interviews. So we hope you guys check out our old work and get your Four Tails fixed that way. All right.
Well, you guys could interview each other at Heroes Con.
Yeah,
we could.
You could do a little video podcast. You could go around meeting people and be like, it's cool stuff. There you go.
I think that's what we're probably going to end up doing. Just going to different tables and talking to people really quickly.
I already got my GoPro ready. So yeah.
Okay. All right. But until then, you guys, I want you guys all enjoy your a month without us almost.
Happy Father's Day, brothers.
Oh yeah. Happy Father's Day to two of you and everybody out there. And sayonara, goodbye, and everybody, please take care of yourselves.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.
Thank you.